Here we are. I was saying I'm really, really glad to be back doing Cook Along Kitchen with you all under UMR. This is an incredible program. We started this a couple of years ago under the former carrier, and now we're back live and in living color under the new carrier. And I'm so, so glad we're here. For those of you that don't yet know me, my name is Shannon Parks. I am your on-site health coach, registered dietitian by trade, foodie, lover of all things cooking. And we put together this cooking demonstration, not just to show you how to make healthy foods, but also to talk about how food is medicine in our day-to-day worlds to reduce risk of disease or actual disease that you may have or a family member or friend may have. So let's dive on in today. We are going to be from scratch plant-based burgers. I'm really excited to go through this menu and this recipe with you and just show you how easy it can be to whip these up at home. I know a lot of my plant-based eaters or people who like to incorporate plant-based meals tend to grab from the frozen section, right? We've got plenty of options for plant-based foods in the frozen section. However, a lot of those foods are going to come with a lot of additives, preservatives, sodium, and unwanted ingredients that are not the best for us. So, when in doubt, making food from food, as you see here today, is always our best option. What I love about this recipe as well, everything in it is super nutritious. It comes together really, really quickly. And this recipe actually freezes really well too. So if you're like me, you like to cook in advance, make a big batch of something that you or your household loves, this is the recipe for you. Let's dive in. So you'll see I've got a couple different kitchen gadgets here. A food processor is ideal for this recipe. If you don't have that, you could use a blender, but it would be a little bit more difficult. You could also mash it by hand. Again, a little bit more difficult. But I've got my food processor. I also have a cooktop here. I've got my pan heating up over a nice medium high heat so that we can sear those burgers really well. So let's talk about our ingredients that we have on hand. Our base is going to be organic black beans. We're going to drain and reserve the liquid from these. This is about 2 cups or so, just under 2 cups worth of black beans in here. That's how much we need for the recipe. I go organic with beans when I can because beans are heavily GMO'd, genetically modified. They're also heavily sprayed with pesticides, and going organic kind of eliminates those pieces of the puzzle that are maybe less wanted. So that's going to be our base. Our second part of our base is going to be mushrooms. I have baby portobello mushrooms here. I love these. We're only going to use a couple, maybe three in this recipe. If I was at home and making this at home, I would probably pop the little stems out of the rest of them, fill them with hummus, and put them in my air fryer, the nice little appetizer or side dish for our meal. So you would always consider that or reserve them for another meal. But this is our second base. Our third part of our base is going to be oats. So I have old-fashioned rolled oats here. Again, I chose organic because oats are heavily sprayed with pesticides and they are a lot of times genetically modified, which is not great for us. So I chose organic oats. Up to you whether or not you go organic. I'm always here to talk about the benefits of organic. And I'll say this, even 5% organic is better than 0%, right? So go with what's in your budget, what you have access to, what's available to you, what you're comfortable with, of course. But that's why I choose organic for my recipes. So we've got that. And then we have some other kind of seasonings, flavorings that are going to go into our burger. We've got some soy sauce. This is the low sodium soy sauce. It is going to add like a really nice umami flavor. We've got some cilantro that's going to spice up our black bean burgers. We've got some fresh garlic, again, organic here, onion powder, cumin, and paprika, and then salt and pepper. And then I have what we're going to put the burgers on. And I'll talk about why I made this choice. But I've got Dave's Killer Bread, the whole grain, sorry, rockin' grains is what he calls it, but the whole grain organic English muffins. This recipe calls for the burgers to be slider size. I'm going to kind of go somewhere in the middle between a slider and a full-on burger size. Again, I'll talk about why I chose these, but this was the best option at the grocery store. And then I also have some romaine leaf lettuce to dress up our burgers with. Of course, sauces as you choose. I'm not going to be preparing a sauce today. So let's start by getting our recipe rolling because it does need to combine and mix a little bit and kind of set. So we'll start getting some of that stuff underway and then we'll come back and revisit all the nutrient properties and the benefits of the ingredients that we have. So I'm going to pop the top off of my food processor here, and I'm going to go ahead and add 3/4 of a cup of the oats. Now, what we're doing here is we are going to be, there we go. We're going to be blitzing these to start breaking them down a little bit so you're not eating whole oats in your burger. Now this is a 2/3 cup measurement, so I'm going to use a little bit more than 2/3 to get us to 3/4. Okay, so I've got that in there. I'm going to put the top back on and we're going to pulse it for just a couple seconds to start breaking up these oats. There we go, perfect. So we're kind of making our own little oat flour, if you will. That's going to help bind. It's going to retain all the moisture. It's going to keep it all together really nicely. So we've got those going. Now let's add in our other ingredients. So I'm taking my top back off. I'm going to take out, we'll start with 3 mushrooms. I am going to take the stems off of them. The stems will go in. I'm going to remove the stems because I just want to break these down a little bit. We're going to cut them just a little bit. Just kind of rough chop them here. Food processor. And this recipe, really pulsing on the food processor is going to bring everything together a lot easier than, say, running it on full speed, because this recipe risks becoming a paste really, really easily. And that's never fun when we're making burgers, especially black bean burgers. We want it to have some texture, some bite to it. So we've got our mushrooms in there. We've got our oats. We're now going to add our black beans. So I'm going to drain off the liquid here. And if you are a following low sodium diet following individual, say that 10 times fast, you could always rinse your canned black beans to get more of that sodium off. You can look for no salt added or low sodium options at the grocery store. Most healthy individuals can handle some salt in their diet. Our gut has a mechanism that it removes excess sodium from our diet. So but if you are low sodium, definitely rinse. That'll get rid of about 60% of your sodium. And I would just add some water back to the recipe as needed. So I dump this whole can of beans in here. And then from there, we're going to add in all of our seasonings. So we've got about a tablespoon of soy sauce. We've got, let's see, a teaspoon of onion powder. And for those of you that have cooked with me before, you know I season a lot with my heart. And that's because I'm comfortable in the kitchen. I realize that's not the case for everybody. So if you're a recipe follower, I do send the recipe out. We're putting in about a teaspoon of this cumin. I'm going to use what I have left in this little jar here. Um, if you're a recipe follower, I do send out the recipe with the link for the recording so you can watch it back and follow the recipe at home. We're going to be adding in 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. Good. And then we're also going to be adding in some of this cilantro. And for our cilantro, it's a 1/4 cup. So I'm just going to hack off a bunch off the end here. I've already washed and pat dried the cilantro so it's nice and clean. If you don't wash your produce, I highly recommend that's something you start. Funny story, in our house last week, my partner was preparing a dish with cilantro, forgot to rinse it. It was incredibly sandy. And so we had some grit with our meal that night. The other thing I see a lot of is people can get viruses, pathogens, etc., from not washing their produce. So I always recommend, please, please, please wash your produce really thoroughly. You don't have to invest in any of those fancy produce washes if you don't want to. If that's your thing, by all means, go for it. But simple white vinegar diluted in water works really, really well to just reduce the grime and the dirt off of your um, produce. If you think about it, you know, it's coming from the ground on some farm somewhere, being picked by an individual or a machine or both, being stored in, storage facility onto a truck, plane, train, however it gets to us, and then it's stored again and moved again, and in no time in that process is it washed. And so I always like to bring awareness, please wash your produce. Okay, so I'm gonna put just a little pinch. Let me make sure the top's secure on this thing. A little pinch of salt. I like to measure out my salt in my hand so I can see how much I'm adding, because otherwise it can add up really quickly and you have a super salty dish. All right, now a few cranks of black pepper. All right, so we're gonna put the top back on here. And then I'm just gonna pulse this a couple times. I do have my bean liquid here, so if I find that it's too thick or the consistency isn't what I need it to be, I can add some of that bean liquid. If I thin it out too much, you can always add some more oats in to kind of get that texture you want. So let's go ahead and pulse this. And we're gonna pulse it just until it's combined. Like I said, we don't want to overdo it and make a paste. We just want to get it all happy and combined. I feel like Emerald Lagasse. Anybody here watch his cooking show back in the day? Make it happy, right? And bam, I used to love that show. Maybe that inspired my love of cooking. Still love him. So much personality. All right, so we've got this mix. I'm gonna bring this around so you guys can see kind of the texture and consistency of this mixture. Let me pop my container off and I'll bring this around so you all can see kind of up close what we're looking at. So this is our mixture up close. And you can see here, it's not, there we go, not a paste by any means. We've got some solid pieces in there still, and it came together really nicely. So that's kind of the texture consistency that we're looking for if you were to make this at home. So this has to rest for about 5 minutes. So I'm just going to set this here and let that rest while we talk about the nutrient properties that go into this dish. I am also going to toast some of these English muffins over in my skillet here so that they're not just kind of raw and plain. And we'll get those ready for serving. So let me slip on my gloves here. Okay, so this recipe, all in all, including the English muffin, is 300 calories, 48 grams of carbohydrates with 8 grams of fiber, all plant-based, 7 grams of fat, and that's going to come predominantly from the avocado oil. Um, 12 grams of protein, 0 milligrams of cholesterol. So, for any of you in the audience today or watching this on a recording, if you notice that you have high cholesterol on your biometric screening, hint, hint, wink, wink, do your biometrics, reducing your intake of animal products can greatly help, and increasing your intake of plant based foods also really helps. Cool fact about that is that with plant-based foods, the fiber in the plant-based food actually binds to LDL or bad cholesterol and helps us eliminate it from the body in our waste. Really, really cool. So the more fiber we get, the better. I am a huge advocate for fiber in our diet. Average American gets about 12 grams. For women, we need 25 grams or more per day. For men, that number is 30 grams or more per day. So just keep that in mind. If you are venturing into the plant-based eating world, you're going to get tons and tons of fiber. If you have high cholesterol, we probably need to increase your fiber. So let's talk about the nutrients specifically in these foods. Our black beans, I tossed my can away here, but our black beans, these are really high in fiber. 1 cup is 10 grams of fiber, which is incredible. Gets you over 30% there for a woman and 30% there for a man, a third of your daily intake, or I should say 33%. Even still, tons and tons of nutrients in them. They're also full plant protein, right? So one serving, a cup of beans is 14 grams of plant protein, which is incredible. I mean, you can't get better than that, right? 14 grams of all plant protein. 0 milligrams of cholesterol, like I was saying, helps reduce those cholesterol levels. They also, black beans are really rich in antioxidants and polyphenols that are known to help type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular risk, and certain types of cancer, even. And they are high in nutrients folate, which is a B vitamin, copper, thiamine, and magnesium. So, a couple B vitamins and magnesium and copper, which is incredible, just based on what those nutrients do for our body and for our metabolism. So that's our base. That's really, really incredible. Our next base is mushrooms. I love mushrooms. One of the things that I love about mushrooms is that they are one of the plant-based, or a plant food, a vegetable that's high in vitamin D. You don't find that very often in the plant-based world. One of the really neat things about mushrooms is, I always say this when I cook mushrooms, but they love a suntan. If you put mushrooms in the sun for about 15 minutes before you cook them, they absorb vitamin D from the sun, and their vitamin D content skyrockets through the roof. So those are really awesome for vitamin D. They also have antioxidants that help boost our immune system. They're high in riboflavin and niacin and pantothenic acid, which are a host of B vitamins that are integral to our energy and metabolism support. They also help with improving circulation, and they are really high in fiber as well. So, a powerhouse food all around. Our
Is
third
that
part of
true
our,
for all? I'm sorry, Shannon. Is
yeah,
that true for all types of mushrooms?
yeah, they're incredible. Mushrooms are a wonder food. So, great question. Yep,
Okay.
all types of mushrooms. Now, the nutrients in them, whether they're high in B vitamins or another type of vitamin, might be a little bit different, but they are all going to be vitamin D rich, especially in the sun, tons of fiber, plant-based protein, etc. Great
Awesome.
question.
Thanks.
Yeah. The third part of our nutrients, the base is going to be our old-fashioned oats. So oats are really awesome. They're high in iron, and they're also really full of fiber. So one serving of oats has 4 grams of fiber, which is incredible. So this meal is really, really fibrous, super heart healthy, great for digestion and blood sugar support as well. I'm not a huge proponent of oats by themselves, like for breakfast or a meal, because they can cause a spike in blood sugar, but they are a great addition to a meal or a recipe. So love oats for that. And like I said, tons of fiber and some plant-based protein in oats as well. Garlic. Garlic is an awesome nutrient. If you saw in the To Your Health article, or release rather, I should say, this month, I had an article about food as medicine, and we talked about garlic. Garlic is in the allium family next to ginger, leeks, onions, chives, and those foods help to boost our immune system. They're also anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and have a host of antioxidants. If you've heard that buzzword but aren't too sure what it means, antioxidants are little particles that go in your body and sweep up all of the cellular damage, that's caused by environmental toxins, cell death, etc., in our body. And so these antioxidants come in and sweep all of that out. So the more antioxidants we have, the better, just because, we're getting these free radical or broken cells in our body all the time based on our environment and things that we come into contact with and the normal life cycle. So I really love antioxidants for that. Paprika. Where's my paprika? Paprika is really cool. This is actually dried red pepper, that's ground up. And paprika, because of that, it's high in capsaicin. Capsaicin is naturally anti-inflammatory. And paprika is also high in carotenoids and vitamin A. So similar to all of our red and orange foods, our carrots, our strawberries, sweet potatoes, red bell peppers, radishes, etc. They're going to be high in vitamin A and the carotenoids. Preventing inflammation, like I said, also helps to improve cholesterol, eye health, and blood sugar levels, which is really awesome just from a little spice. So even the spices that we use really matter. Cumin, I toss this guy, but our little jar here of cumin. Cumin is a really cool spice as well for its benefits. Rich in iron, which you would never think of for a spice, right? We always think about iron being in animal-based foods, meats and liver and organ meats and etc. But cumin is actually pretty high in iron for its volume, right? Antioxidants, polyphenols, vitamin A and B6. Vitamin A helps with our vision. B6 is going to help with our metabolism and our energy levels. high in zinc, which is necessary to build the digestive enzymes that help our body digest our food. It also helps with our immune system. Calcium for strong bones, magnesium for a host of issues or benefits, I should say, not issues, and potassium. So a bunch of really great nutritional properties to cumin. And then last but not least, the cilantro. Cilantro is also a shining star. Cilantro is really interesting in that it binds to heavy metals in our body and helps to flush them out. So it'll go into the tissues, grab onto that heavy metal and pull it out just based on the nutrients that are in cilantro. So the more cilantro you can eat, the better off. They also contain quercetin. So many of you have probably heard about that. It's an antioxidant and they have a property in them. It's actually been shown consumed in high enough quantities, and I can't tell you the exact quantity. It has the same anxiety reducing effect as a common medication, Valium, used to be treated for anxiety. So cilantro naturally helps to reduce anxiety and stress. And another great benefit of cilantro is that it's antibacterial. So, what do you guys think about that? Anybody surprised about all the nutrient benefits in our foods? Please feel free, come off of mute. That feels safe for you, or drop it in the chat so I can check it later. Um, Hopefully that is pretty astounding information, right? Like we're always learning about the benefits of what food can do for our body, and food really can be medicine if we let it be, right? Like we can so easily make the less savory but more um convenient choice very easily. But when we think about it, what's the best choice? It's making a really nutrient rich meal like this for yourself, for your family, that's giving you all these host of beautiful nutrient properties from the food that really do serve your body. So
I
I'm going
always
to be,
forget about
you,
spices. I mean, I
yeah,
don't forget to use them, but I forget to about their
all the benefits.
benefits.
Yeah, so many
And
benefits.
you used one today that is one of my absolute favorites, and that's smoked paprika.
So yummy.
Love it because it gives that smoky flavor that, sometimes when you're transitioning from carnivore to a plant-based diet, you kind of miss that because you're not
Hmm.
getting the barbecue meats and all of that stuff. So those types of spices can really help in that transition and make you feel like you're not missing anything and that everything still tastes, amazing. So
Without having to use that weird meat flavoring that I've seen on the shelves.
yes, which
Excellent
is
point,
bleh.
Kelly. Yeah, and God knows what's in that, right? Like I've never stopped to look, but it seems sketchy to me. And so, yeah, that's a really excellent point. All of the flavors of the spices, not only do they have wonderful flavors that they're contributing to a dish, but they can help to modify and kind of help your palate adjust too. So, a really wonderful point there. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, so I've got our bean mixture here. It's set for several minutes. I'm going to start forming it into patties. And then I have avocado oil here. So, when cooking, I highly recommend avocado oil. I like it because it's a neutral oil, meaning it doesn't have a strong odor or flavor. So it's not going to impart a lot of flavor like some of your other oils will. If anybody's ever used peanut oil, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, and it has a higher smoke point than olive oil, meaning you can cook with it safely at higher temperatures versus olive oil. When we get to the higher temperatures, like putting a pan over medium high heat or high heat or on a grill, an example, we don't want to put olive oil because when it starts to smoke, the structure of the oil and the fats in the oil changes and becomes less beneficial for us. So my go-to is avocado oil. I save olive oil for lower temperature or for dressings, sauces, things like that, where I'm not going to be cooking at high temp. So we're going to add some avocado oil into our pan here, just a little bit. Like I said, I've got my pan here over, I would say it's like a medium high heat. We're gonna work on searing these burger patties. So I'm gonna take my mixture and divide it in half in my bowl, and then I'm gonna divide it into, well, let's do 4 burgers. Half my team is remote today, and so I told all the others, get ready, we got black bean burgers. So we'll do 4. Okay, so we've got a good size patty structure here. This looks really solid. It doesn't look like some of these black bean burgers that we put in a pan that they're gonna fall apart when we try to flip them. If you've ever made black bean or homemade plant-based burgers at home, you probably know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna do two in a pan, two in the pan at a time. And these are gonna sear for 3 to 5 minutes on each side. These are looking really good. That's a nice burger shape. Now, I did tell you guys, I would tell you, let you in on my secret or the method to my madness of why am I serving these on an English muffin? First of all, it's a fun little change up, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever had a burger on an English muffin, but it brings a different texture, which is nice. Secondly, I purchased these groceries from Walmart. I mean, the cost of groceries is so high. So I try to be conscious about the grocery costs, right? So shopping at like a Walmart or an Aldi. And Walmart, they have an expansive bread section, buns, I mean, you name it. However, what I noticed is that a lot of the options available were not organic. Again, this is my preference as a diet.
Uh-oh. Are the rest of you experiencing Shannon frozen?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Hopefully it'll clear up. If not, I'll run down the hall and knock on the door and let her know. I think she may have actually gotten tossed out. All right, I'm going to run down the hall. Sit tight, and we'll get you back online shortly. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, so I went down and stuck my head in, and Shannon was messing with it. She realized she was off, and she was going to. She said it popped back on.
Oh, here she is,
Okay,
but
Shannon, are you back?
I can't hear her.
Yeah, she said it popped back on, but then it looked like it must have kicked her out again. So she's coming for the phone. She's talking, but we can't hear her.
Okay, are we back?
We're back, but you're sideways.
Okay, let's fix that. Oh golly, welcome back, huh?
Technology
Let's
is
see.
great,
I know,
but
right?
sometimes I
Okay, let's see.
think you just turned your picture off. There you are again.
Trying to get it to go. There we go.
Landscape.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think we're good.
awesome.
Golly, guys, I appreciate you guys sticking with me here. Okay, we're good. We can see, we can hear.
We're good.
Yes?
We can see, we can hear. And when I
Okay.
stuck my head in, folks, I just want to let you know how good it smells in that conference room. I should
Smells
have
so
just
good.
stayed down there.
All right. You could have been on the show with me, Kelly. Come on down. But I was saying before we got cut off and now we're back. I looked high and low through the Walmart bakery aisle. I can't even tell you how long I was in there. Tons of options, not a lot organic. So we're getting all those pesticides, all those GMOs in our body. So I like to go organic. And a lot of the options were not whole grain. When we sacrifice whole grain, we're losing fiber, we're losing protein, and we're losing a ton of nutrients. So landing on these was really great because Dave's Killer does also have buns, but they're not as high in protein or fiber. So, an example for this product, one English muffin is 140 calories. We've got 3 grams of fiber and 6 grams of protein. You can't beat that for one English muffin, and it's organic. So, that's why I chose these over a traditional bun. If you've never tried Dave's Killer, I highly encourage you to try it because they have some really great products. All right, I'm flipping my burgers and they are staying together really beautifully. They have a really nice sear on the one side. I'm actually going to turn our heat up just a pinch and get a good sear on the other side. And then I have 2 more patties here. So while those are cooking, I want to open up the floor for any questions that you might have or any comments. So please feel free to come off of mute. Anybody, any question?
Besides me, anyone besides Kelly.
Hey,
This
Kelly,
is
I love your
Belinda.
questions too.
Hey, Belinda.
Hey,
Hi. So I wanted to find out when you send out the recipe, are you going to send out the benefits of all the ingredients that you just went through? Because that was very good. I had no idea either.
yeah,
I use a lot of those, but just knowing how I'm making right choices kind of helps.
for sure. Yeah, I can totally do that. If you would find that helpful, I'd be happy to do that.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, great. Be happy to do that. So you guys will get the recipe, all the nutrient benefits, thanks to Belinda, as well as the recording when we're done with today's session. So great question. Thank you. And I'll continue in the future for future episodes because we do these monthly now that we're back. I'll continue to keep those nutrient benefits included in the recipe as well. Knowledge is power, they say, right?
Indeed, it is.
What other questions might we have? Anybody here never tried a black bean burger, but are now inspired to try making one or eating one?
Well, I love black bean burgers. I've never actually made it myself.
Okay, so this will be
Um,
fun for you.
yes, we will try it and I will let you know. And as you know, Shannon, I think those impossible and beyond meats are scary and gross. And
Yeah.
so it's really nice to be able to just kind of sink your teeth in to something that you can see what's in it. You know
Yeah,
exactly what's in it.
absolutely. And I think the other thing that people don't talk about with the impossible meats that is important to talk about is those products. I think a lot of people who are eating plant-based, perhaps it's for ethical reasons or environmental relief reasons, etc. However, we're not considering the Impossible brand specifically, and a lot of these plant-based meats, it takes a ton of water and other environmental resources to make those products. So while there might be healthier for our body, they're not necessarily better for the environment in comparison to something like this, right? I'm not comparing it to a traditional beef burger because that's like comparing an apple and asparagus, totally different, right? But if we're talking about one variation of an apple versus another, like a black bean burger homemade versus an impossible burger, I'd rather you go with the black bean burger homemade because way less ingredients. I know what all these ingredients are, to Kelly's point, right? And a better environmental footprint just based on the fact that we don't have to use all these environmental resources to make these burgers at home. So great point there, Kelly. Appreciate you bringing that up. Anybody here ever made black bean burgers and are now like, yeah, I'm gonna go make them again?
I
Hopefully
make
so.
them. I
Oh,
make them,
oh,
Shannon.
oh, yay! Is that
Yeah.
Kim?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I
Is
enjoy
the
it. I might cook regular burgers for the rest of my family, but I cook the black bean for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
And is this recipe similar to the black bean burger recipe that you use right now?
It is very similar with the exception of the oats. I want to say the binding was maybe breadcrumbs, so I
Okay.
think that'll make it a little bit more healthy using the
Yeah, the
oats.
oats for sure. Yep. We're gonna get a
Yeah.
little bit more protein and whatnot from
Hmm.
the oats than we might from something else. So I've got my black bean patty here, and I'm gonna set this guy down. I want to get some lettuce. We got to have something green to zhuzh it up, right? Kind of dietitian would I be if we didn't have something green on the plate?
That's one
Okay,
of
so
Jane
we've
Grannis's favorite terms is zhuzh. Let's
zhuzh.
zhuzh it up.
I
Yeah.
love that. That is very much a Janeism. So I've got my English muffin, I've got my leaf lettuce. I'm gonna throw that burger patty right on there. Oh my gosh, you guys, this couldn't get better if I tried. I'm bringing it around. Just sink your mental teeth into this, please. Look how beautiful. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Let me take the bun off the top. Look how beautiful that is. Beautiful, crispy sear on the outside. Like Kelly said, it smells phenomenal. It's so good. It's perfectly portioned for my little English muffin here. I'm ready to eat it right now. I'm going to set it to the side for my colleagues, but I'm ready to eat it right now. So, thank
Yes, I'll
you
be
for
sinking my
attending.
literal teeth into that in just a
Yes,
few
please
minutes.
do. Yes, please do. That one can be yours by all means. Um, I'm going to wrap it up for you guys today now that you've seen our finished product. We have done some great work together today. We've learned about how to make black bean burgers, all the benefits, all the yummy nutrients that we're getting from these, why it's important to make our own food made from food. If you have questions or you're interested in embarking on a health coaching journey and learning more about how to improve your health through what you eat, please reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you next month. Take care, my friends.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Shannon, what are you doing? Can you tell us what you're doing next month's cook along?
Yes, that's a great point. Thank you, Kim. So next month we are doing a take on a pasta salad. I figured we're getting closer to the summer months. I don't know about y'all. I love a pasta salad, but they're not always the healthiest. So we're making what's called a super green pasta salad. The pasta is going to be green, not the pasta noodles itself. The pasta sauce that goes in is going to be green. It can be served warm or cold. So please come hang out with me for that one. Learn a new plant-based recipe for your summer festivities or whatever you may be up to. That'll be next month, April 20 something. I don't have the date off the top of my head, but it will be in the To Your Health newsletter that comes out in the beginning of the month. So I hope to see you then.
And I may have
Awesome.
missed this, but will you be posting the recipe as well? I always have a problem getting my black bean burgers to bind as well as you did.
Oh, yay. You need this recipe then. I'm so glad you're here. So when I finish up today, I'm going to send out the recording, the recipe, and thanks to my pal Belinda on the call today, I'm going to be sending out all the nutrient properties, all the nutrient benefits that we see in these burgers as well. So that'll be coming to you and anybody else who registered for today. And then I will tell you a little hack for the future. If you can't make it, but you still want to guarantee that you get the recipe and the recording, sign up anyway. Sign up, and then I just send everything to all of our Zoom registration folks because I realize sometimes stuff comes up and we're not always able to make it live like we planned. So hopefully that helps you out.
Great job today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, my friends, signing off. Take care and be well. Bye bye.